Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into spinal cord anatomy. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by medical jargon, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to take a really simple, beginner-friendly journey right into the central nervous system. I promise, by the end of this, you'll have a crystal clear understanding of the incredible biological wiring that literally keeps your body moving and feeling.
But right off the bat, before we even start mapping out this whole system, I've got a question for you. Why does your spinal cord actually stop growing before your spine does? I mean, it kind of sounds like a biological mistake, doesn't it? Well, keep that question in the back of your mind, because the answer is honestly one of the most fascinating structural quirks of the human body, and we're going to solve that mystery in just a few minutes.
Section 1. The Information Highway.
Okay, let's start with the big picture. Think of your central nervous system like a massive computer network. Your brain is the main server, right? But the spinal cord is the ultimate information highway. It's this continuous cylindrical cable of nervous tissue, about 40 to 50 centimeters long, so roughly 16 to 20 inches, and it's only about half an inch thick. It acts as the vital bridge, connecting the high-level processing of your brain to literally every other part of your body. And what's truly mind-blowing is just how organized this highway is. Just like a long stretch of interstate is divided into mile markers, the spinal cord is neatly divided into 31 distinct segments. You can see them brilliantly color-coded right here. Up at the top, in yellow, we've got the 8 cervical segments. Right below that, in pink, are the 12 thoracic segments. Then the 5 lumbar segments in purple, 5 sacral segments in green, and finally, just a single coccygeal segment down at the very bottom. From every single one of these 31 segments, a pair of spinal nerves branches off to talk to a very specific part of your body.
But here's the thing. This highway isn't perfectly uniform the whole way down. Notice how the cord actually thickens up in 2 specific places? These are called the cervical enlargement near the top and the lumbosacral enlargement further down. Now, why are they thicker? Well, because these areas basically act as massive, high-traffic transit hubs. The cervical enlargement has to power all the complex movements of your arms and hands, while the lumbosacral enlargement handles the massive amount of signaling required for your legs and feet. And it just makes sense. More traffic requires a wider highway.
Now here's where it gets really interesting, and it brings us right back to that question I asked you at the very beginning. If you've got 31 spinal segments sending out nerves, you'd naturally assume they line up perfectly with the protective bones of your spine, your vertebrae, right? Well, they don't. There's actually a bizarre mismatch between the bones and the nerves. Section 2. Sizing up the cord. So, this brings us to a really crucial concept known as vertebral spinal discrepancy. In simple terms, your bones and your spinal cord grow at completely different rates as you develop in the womb and through childhood. Your spine just keeps elongating, but your spinal cord, it stops growing way earlier. The result? The cord ends up being significantly shorter than a bony canal that houses it. If you trace that pink cord down, look really closely at where it stops. See that marker for the L1 and L2 vertebrae? That's your first and second lumbar vertebrae. That is exactly where the actual solid spinal cord unexpectedly terminates in adults. It just ends in this cone-shaped tip called the conus medullaris. So, if the solid cord stops way up there in your upper-lower back, what on earth is filling the rest of your spine all the way down to your tailbone?
Section 3. The horse's tail.
Because the solid spinal cord ends so high up, the nerve roots meant for the lower half of your body have to travel a really long way down that empty spinal canal just to find their correct exit points. And this creates a totally unique structure known as the cauda equina. It's essentially a massive bundle of lower spinal nerve roots occupying the lower third of the vertebral canal. And fun fact, the name literally translates from Latin to horse's tail. Once you see it, you'll immediately get why early anatomists named it that.
Just look at that purple bundle of nerves descending downwards from the green conus medullaris. It looks exactly like a horse's tail, right? These are the nerve roots from the lumbar, sacral, and coccygeal segments, dropping down to supply your pelvic organs and lower limbs. And right down the middle, you'll see this thin, stabilizing strand called the filum terminale. It acts just like an anchor, safely holding everything in place all the way down to your tailbone.
Section 4. Spinal roots and nerves.
Okay, let's dive into how this central highway actually talks to the body. To understand that, we need to look at how the cables plug into the cord itself. Think of your spinal cord as the main street power line, and your spinal nerves as the cables running directly into your house.
The absolutely crucial point here is that every single spinal nerve connects to the cord using two separate roots, and each has a very specific job. We have ventral roots, which are at the front. These are efferent, meaning they carry motor commands out from the brain to tell your muscles to move. On the flip side, we have dorsal roots at the back. These are afferent, meaning they carry sensory feelings, like touch and temperature, in from your skin to the brain.
Check out how this works. You've got the yellow ventral root at the bottom, carrying motor signals out, and the upper dorsal root with that little blue bulge, the dorsal root ganglion, carrying sensory signals in. Just a bit further out, these two separate wires completely merge together into a single complete purple spinal nerve. It's literally exactly like a two-way electrical cable. One wire handles the outbound traffic, the other handles the inbound traffic, and they're neatly bundled together to travel through your body.
Section 5. Inside the spinal cord.
Now, this part is so often misunderstood. A lot of folks think the spinal cord is just a uniform bundle of wires all the way through. But if we slice the cord completely open, we reveal an incredibly organized internal architecture. Right dead in the center is a tiny little hole called the central canal, which is filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Surrounding that, you see a darker, butterfly-shaped area. This is the gray matter, and it is packed with nerve cell bodies. These are essentially the processing centers. Enclosing that butterfly is the lighter outer layer, the white matter. This is made entirely of myelinated axons, which are the long, insulated cables that actually carry the signals up to the brain and down to the body.
Section 6. The gray matter butterfly. Let's focus entirely on that gray matter for a second. To make this visually intuitive and really memorable, medical students for generations have used this butterfly analogy. By breaking down the wings of this butterfly, which in anatomy are called horns, we can understand exactly where different types of information are processed. The gray matter is divided into three paired horns. That purple area at the back, that's the dorsal horn. It receives sensory input from the body. The orange area at the front is the ventral horn. That sends motor output out to your muscles. And tucked right in the middle, in the green area, which is mostly in the chest region, is the lateral horn, which handles all those automatic involuntary autonomic signals, like your heart rate and digestion.
Now, these horns aren't just empty space. They are absolutely packed with specific clusters of cells called nuclei. We won't overwhelm you with all the complex Latin names today, but we do need to look at three key sensory nuclei in the dorsal horn that have incredibly practical functions for your everyday survival: the marginal zone, the substantia gelatinosa, and the dorsal nucleus of Clark. Let's see what they actually do.
See those red and pink dots right at the very tips of the dorsal horns? This microscopic region houses the marginal zone and the substantia gelatinosa. Why does this matter? Well, if you accidentally touch a hot stove or step on a sharp pin, these are the exact microscopic cell clusters that instantly receive that pain and temperature data, process it, and fire it up to your brain to scream, "Ouch, pull away." Now let's move to the intermediate column and look at the red dots labeled the dorsal nucleus of Clark. This nucleus handles something truly amazing called unconscious proprioception. Right now, literally without you even looking, your body knows exactly where your arms and legs are positioned in space. Clark's column is constantly gathering this positioning data from your muscles and joints and secretly updating your cerebellum. It's essentially the background software keeping you balanced without you ever even realizing it's running. So that leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. If your spinal cord is autonomously filtering pain reflexes and constantly recalculating your body's position in space completely unconsciously, who is really in control of your everyday movements? Is it your brain, or is it that incredible gray matter butterfly hidden deep inside your spine? Today we mapped the 31 segments of the information highway, solved the mystery of the cauda equina, and decoded the deep anatomy of the gray and white matter. I really hope this made spinal cord anatomy easy to grasp. If you found this explainer helpful, please hit that subscribe button for more simple, structured medical explanations. We'll catch you in the next one.